Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
And good evenings, everybody. Hey, Mo, better late than never. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Ricky Hampton with former Bucks legend Paul Mokeski coming to you on a Monday evening. We apologize for a little late start. We had some technical difficulties, but we got those worked out. Big shout out to our man Tony K for getting
Way to go, Tony.
My man Tony K, he hooked us up. He got us going.
He's the smart one of the group. That's why.
That is damn sure. Mo, always good to see you, brother. Lot to talk about, and we've already lost some time, so we need to get right to it. But first and foremost, we got to welcome our guests. And Mo, it's good to see people still out there waiting for us, even though we got a late start.
Thank you, guys. Girl.
Of that. Hey, Mo, let's start with the Chicago Bears Washington Commanders game. The ending of that game is Jaden Daniels, the young rookie quarterback, throws a Hail Mary that wins the game on the last play, and the Bears they blew it. They blew it. They actually blew it a little earlier. They were on the goal line and gave it to a big tackle who fumbled away the ball. And then on the last play of the game, what everybody's really talking about is Stevenson jawing with the fans, not paying attention. The play was halfway over before he even noticed what happened. And he runs over there. And Mo, he's actually the kid that tips the ball up that the Commanders caught in the touchdown.
Yeah, and I don't think that was his job either. I think he was supposed to be, well, from what I understand, people talk about the Hail Mary thing. As an offensive team, you want a couple guys jumping and then a guy behind you ready to catch if there's a tip. On the defensive end, you want one guy going up to deflect the ball and then the other guys kind of boxing out their men so they can get that deflection. And I think instead of jumping to tip the ball, I think he was supposed to have the guy that actually caught it in the end zone. But you can actually, we could talk about that further, but wind it back to the play before where they didn't rush the quarterback, they didn't cover the short routes, and they got it down and out 15 yards and stop the clock, because if they don't get that 15 yards, he can't get it to the end zone, and the game is over anyway. So the defensive coordinator for Chicago, whoever he is, really messed up on that coverage. And then, of course, the knucklehead, bonehead, silly player that was messing around with the fans. The ball was snapped 4 seconds before he even knew that the ball was snapped. That's insane.
Stevenson, second-year man, actually a pretty good player, but man, he blew that. But what I want to ask you, Mo, from the aspect, number one, of a professional athlete, and number two, as a coach who's coached on the professional level, when you see a teammate, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever, that's not focused, what is your reaction? So I'd like to hear your thoughts. Number one, as a player.
If I was his teammate, he's 30 yards away from me. I can't go grab him. I can't yell. He won't hear me. So, as a teammate, you're pretty much out of luck. Even if you're his defensive back teammate that was back there around the end zone, you can't, like in the NBA, if it happens on an NBA court, and you're messing around with the fan, I can go grab you and bring you back and say, pay attention.
Right.
But in football, you can't really do that. You know, so you know, I don't.
As a you were a veteran player. He's a second-year guy. You played 12 years in the league. Is there any kind of conversation?
Well, what? I mean, you know, this classic. What frustrates me, and especially as a coach, is when players do something bonehead like that, and then they come out and apologize and go, "My bad, my bad." You cost us the game, and maybe my job down the road.
Yeah.
So you saying my bad does nothing for me. But you know, it's you know, it's really frustrating because, you know, I've had interactions with fans before when I played, but never during like action of the game. Maybe at the free throw line when the ball was stopped, or at a timeout, or when I was walking back to the huddle. But never, you know, I'm not guarding Moses Malone and looking at fans and go, "Hey, I've been guarding Moses Malone." You know, it's past logic of what he did. Hey, Steve. But at the same time, I mean, you know, I've seen, you know, players do silly stuff all the time. And, you know, it's really sad because Chicago had won that game and they're kind of on a roll and they've had a good season. And now they have this hanging over their heads. And now guess what? As a coach, what do I got to do? I got to worry about how his teammates react. I got to worry about how he reacts. I got to worry about all this other stuff that I'm pretty sure in the NFL it's hard to win a game, I would think. Yeah. So now you have all this other stuff coming in that you don't need. You need scouting reports and offensive game plan and defensive game plan and special teams. And now you have this crap that you have to deal with before you play the next game. So it's a sad situation and frustrating. And you know, you've asked me before, like if I was the coach of that team, I got to find some way to reel him back in because, like you said, he is a pretty good player and he's an important part of our defense. So I have to find a way to actually help him learn. Guess what? Don't do that again. And, you know, make him feel a little bad that he cost us the game, but at the same time, encourage him because guess what? He's going to be defending, you know, receivers and everything next week. And you can't do that without you know, a positive attitude and some ego. And as a coach for the regular team, I mean, you know, I would not show that play in the video room. I wouldn't show it, but I would address it and say, hey guys, you know, a lot of things happened in the game. We had a chance to win, you know, in a couple different scenarios, and that play at the end of the game just shows that we need to learn that the game is never over until the horn sounds or the whistle blows, and anything can happen, and we have to learn that. We have to stay focused all the way through. I mean, you know, I'm a Kansas guy, right? And I was really having high expectations for the Jayhawks football team this year, and I think they're 1-5 or 1-6. They've lost every game in the second half. They've been up in every game in the first half. And especially they've lost a bunch of them in the fourth quarter because they lost focus. They celebrate too soon. They think the game's over, and it doesn't work that way. You have to play to the final whistle, to the final horn, and that's the message I would get across to everybody. And then tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever, after all the media and everything, I mean, it's on everything, then you need to close that curtain. Guys, moving on. Yeah. We can't do anything about that. It's over. You know, we can learn that lesson, and now we have to prepare for whoever we're playing next.
Yeah, because one thing you mentioned earlier, Mo, especially in NFL, you only play 17 of those things, man. You just can't give one away. The league is just too competitive for that. And Stevenson, earlier in the game, he got a penalty flag for he had his hand in the guy's face mask after the play that cost him 15 yards. So you got talented dude, man, but you got to rein him in. And that was just a devastating loss. For the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, so the Bears they're in a tough conference, right? The best one, right?
Right.
Detroit is 6-1, Minnesota is 6-2, I think, and Packers are 5-2, I think. Or now they're 6-2, and you're 4-3. That could be 5-2, right in the mix. But now you're pedaling upstream now.
Yeah.
So, it has a consequence farther than just that game. And a lot of times players don't understand that. They just, as a player, you're concentrating on what you have to do, how you can win the game, and you're very focused on stuff. As a coach and the coaching staff and everything, you have a wider variety. You have a wider vision of, well, we got to take care of all these players and all these different aspects of the game, and then we have to worry about, because I guarantee, and I've had every coach's office has a board up there where they rank, what the records are. It's right there. And if you want to make the playoffs, you have to do this. And you can't lose games like that, because now, you got to win a game that you might not weren't expecting to win now because you lost that game. And it's tough. It's so much easier. Like I've told you before, in the NBA, if you can have twice as many victories as you can losses, then you've had a great season and you're a top 4 team in the league. That's what happens. But what happens is, okay, you start out 0-0. Now if you go down, it's 0-1, and now it's 0-2. Now to get to that mark, you've got a long way to go, man. In the NFL, it's only magnified because, like you said, there's only 17 games.
Right. You only get so many shots at this, man.
Yeah.
Hey, we already got some questions and comments coming in, and we're going to get to some NBA talk. Steve's already worried about your beloved Bucks, Mo.
So am I. So am I, man.
We're down 8 to Boston. I was reading earlier where Coach Rivers was saying that they're just not playing the right way. I mean, I don't know exactly what he means by that. So we'll get your thoughts on that. But the Chiefs, before we get out of just a little NFL talks, Mahomes. Hey, stats don't mean anything to this dude. He is a winner, man.
The Chiefs are banged up, beat up, and they still win games. And that's a testament to the Chiefs' defense, their coaching staff, and Mahomes is not playing well. You're right. But they're still winning. That's the big difference. So if I'm a coach, I'm like, hey, guess what, guys? We're 7-0. And we're not playing very good, and our MVP quarterback is struggling. Let's stick with it. And once he gets up there, watch out. So, I'm not like, they used to say, you win, doesn't matter if you win pretty, you can win ugly. It's still a W. No more true than for the Chiefs this year so far.
You know what they say on golf? No pitches on the scorecard. Just
exactly.
Hey, but Mo, the Chiefs are interesting. How much do you think that they hadn't played their best, but how much you think is a part of their winning mentality?
Yeah, it's a habit, and it's an expectation. So when losing teams, playing games, when the game gets tough and it's going back and forth, and you've lost 10 games already, you expect to lose. Yeah. Winning teams, that it's going back and forth, but we're going to win because we always win. That's a fact. And even though it's mental, because sports is a lot mental, like 70% mental. So it is true, and you expect to win, and players step up and do their job where, oh, shoot, here we go again. We were here last week, and we were winning in the fourth quarter, and now they intercepted, and now we're going to lose again. And that's true. That's what happens.
Let me give you a perfect example of that. Last year's Pistons team that lost 28 straight games, they led in the fourth quarter of 12 of those games.
Yep. They wouldn't be a laughingstock if they would have won 6 of those, right? Or 8 of
those games they led in the fourth quarter and lost every one of them.
It's a habit. Habits are habits, right? They're hard to break. And once you get in that funk, it's very difficult. and you can make some changes and do some things and, hopefully get out of it. But the other thing with the Chiefs, man, Mahomes is hurt. He's hurt. He was limping around from the after the first quarter yesterday against the Raiders here. I mean, I'm telling you, watch the game in Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Raiders. It was 80% red with Chiefs fans. It was crazy. It was insane. But Mahomes was hurt, banged up, got hit, but he kept getting up and he kept making plays. And guess who notices that? His teammates.
Yeah.
His teammates know, man, look at, oh, man, I know he's hurting, man. I know I'm hurting a little bit, but he's playing. I got to step up. And that's a real thing, too.
Our best player, our MVP, he's out there busting his ass. So, yeah. Steve, I'm not with you on this, brother. Just what we were just talking about. They find a way. I mean, they will find a way.
And here's the other thing that happens, Steve. Injuries early get healed up in the middle of the season and towards the end, and then you'd be getting full strength while some of your backup guys got quality reps in games, and now you have a deeper team. So I'm hoping that's what happens.
Yeah.
I still think they should have got Devontae Adams. They should have went after him, but
although DeAndre Hopkins will be a good pickup for them.
Yeah.
He had 2 catches, I think, for 29 yards last night. I mean, yesterday.
He's another target for Mahomes, yeah. And you know what happened? They got him. He's another target. And Travis Kelce finally had a good game.
Yeah.
Or made catches, got a touchdown. Because what happens over here if you're drawn – like that's what Devontae Adams would have done. You got to double team him. So now guess who's open? Kelce.
I tell you, Steve was texting about my Lions. They are scary good. But what worries me is, I mean, you cannot replace Aiden Hutchinson and the way he was playing. He was a freaking – Mo, when he broke his leg, he was getting a sack. I mean, he was playing out of his mind.
They should call the Raiders. They should call the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders.
Call the Raiders. They have 2 rushing defensive linemen that right now, obviously they're not going anywhere. Give them a first-round pick and pick up one of those guys. Woo-hoo.
But Mo, that's a good get your thoughts on this. A team like the Lions, very good young team. They have cap space even going into next year. But their GM is excellent drafter, and he doesn't seem to be the kind of guy to want to give up those draft picks. But when you're this close, do you go all in or?
The windows close fast, brother. They close and slam on your hand while you're reaching out the window, and you don't want to take a chance for granted. So you're on a roll now, and I know you have a young team and blah 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 blah. But if I only have to give up some second-round draft pick for for Max, the guy here in Orlando, yeah, Cross. Hello. Well, why? Salary, okay, you got to fit them in, but at the same time, a draft pick, who cares? You got one of the best pass rushers right there with a team that, he's kind of said some stuff like he's not really happy here because they're losing every time. Now, if I'm the GM, this is what I did when I was in the G League or in the CBA. Hello, hey, how's it going, Raiders? Yeah, struggling a little bit, Yeah, hey, any interest in moving that Max guy? Yeah, Max Crosby? Yeah, I might give you something.
I hear you, Mo. And see, I agree with you because you can't wait till next year. Next year, you may have another injury
or 2 or 3. Yeah. Or someone quarterback pops their Achilles.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
You gotta go. You gotta strike with the Water Lions hot.
If you got a legit opportunity to get to the Super Bowl and maybe win, you gotta do everything it takes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Future's great, love it. Yeah, built for the future, but now is now.
Yeah. Who do you think over the years? I know you played for Jack McCloskey in Detroit. the shrewdness of any NBA GMs stand out to you over the years?
Yeah, I mean, there's some that, you know, you know, do different things like OKC, who's built a legitimate team right now and have like 8,000 first round draft picks that they built up over the years when they were losing, so, now they went out and got some veteran players and they're going to make a run for it. So, and they've made trades to get those assets. I mean, when you're in pro sports, everything's an asset. Your players are assets, their salaries are assets, and your draft picks are assets. They're all assets. So if you can get back better assets than you give out, and it gets you built better to win, that's what you have to do. And there's a few, in the NBA, the Lakers have made some decent moves in the past here, and come through with that. So, but with salary caps,
Jerry West was really good, wasn't he? Jerry West was.
Yeah, Jerry West is really smart, knew everything. Guys respected him. And, but there's one thing, fantasy league. We should trade this guy for that guy and get this guy and get KD, and we're going to get Steph Curry. And no, you're not. It doesn't work that way. Someone else has to agree. And here's the other thing that people don't realize. If I want to get Steph Curry, but I have to give 3 of my starters away, then who's he going to play with? Garbage. So it doesn't work that way. So, there's I've read a little bit of the collective bargaining agreement, NBA. I think it's 300 pages or something. But, you have to, every NBA team has a specialist that does that because it's so complicated. And even draft picks, and you could, you can't sign a second year guy, if you've already signed a second year. There's all kinds of these rules that have to go into that. So I think the GMs and the organizations that have a feel for the game and what they're trying to build, and also someone with the mentality to be able to work this around in the CBA and the salary cap wise, that's the gold right there. And then you got to have some guts every once in a while. Lions, you have to have some guts, Lions.
Hey, David, checking in, go Chiefs. Hey, Mo, one more football thing before we go. And again, from a former professional athlete's perspective, although in basketball we see this, the Indianapolis Colts quarterback, Anthony Richardson, checked himself out of the game the other day. Said he was tired after. I'm just telling you what
I know. I think I'm sorry.
If your teammate, what your reaction?
He doesn't want to come back in the locker room if I'm his teammate at all. I mean, I'm tired. What? I mean, how old is the dude? I mean, is that
22?
like a millennial thing or whatever? I'm tired. I don't want to. I mean, okay. So, you're a quarterback. You're tired. You go out of the game. You're tired, and then you come back in, and guess who's still there? Your offensive line who've been battling their butts off while you've been sitting on the bench catching your breath. I mean, do you think they want to play for him? Do you think they're going to block all out for him because he checked himself out because he was tired? That's crazy, and that's and that's what's happening. Like in the NBA, look like load management. We got load management, and now you have a quarterback in the NFL taking himself out of the game because I'm tired. You know what? I wish I could talk to that dude, whoever he is. Hey, if you're tired, do something smart. Act like you turned your ankle a little bit. Come on, man. Play the game. Oh man, I tweaked my knee a little bit. I need to go sit down. Don't tell someone you're tired. Come on, man.
I heard an interesting conversation with Nick Saban, the great Alabama coach. He said today's athletes are so much different from when he first entered coaching, and he coached for 50 years. He said back in the day he used the old adage, you tell them to run through the wall, they're going to run through it. He said the guys now run through the wall. Well, why should I run through the wall? What is that?
I think actually I told you that a couple of years ago, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but and it's that's what's happening. I don't expect to go back when guys played with shot themselves up and with bad knees and some. Yeah, I did that. And pay for it later, but at the same time, I mean, it's getting ridiculous of, all the load management and all that stuff. And, players are different and you got to coach a different way. And that's just the facts. But, I can't. If a teammate, we're, we're in a heavy, game and, I'm you and me and we're battling and I'm helping you double team Kareem or someone like that. And, next time down you go, hey, Mo, I'm gonna check myself out because I'm tired. Wait, what? What are you talking about?
Right.
And here's where back in the day. Here, let me give you something else that you can remember, and then maybe credit to some other coach. But I'm gonna tell you right here, it used to be, you can't be sick, and you can't get tired. No, you can't get sick, and you can't be tired. You just got to play. That was it. Can't get sick, you can't be tired.
So you'd have had a problem when Scottie Pippen had the headaches when they were playing.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it a real migraine? I don't know, but
or he didn't want to deal with Ron.
Yeah, we used to call it Moto when, especially when I was with Houston backing up Moses Malone, you go into an NBA city and the starting center would suddenly have, come down with the flu or call it the Mo flu or Moto, their foot hurt. So they didn't have to guard Moses that night, Moses Malone.
Because that was a day at the office, huh, Mo?
That's some guys get scared, but I never heard anybody in 12 years and 20 years as a coach, more than 20 years as a coach, like 35, whatever, and playing in college. I never heard anybody say, I'm tired, I'm coming out. Come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to the NBA. And speaking of load management, I was reading today, LeBron James said he's determined to play 82 games this year. Wow. If you're his coach, do you want him to play 82 games?
No, but I'm not going to detour him. I love that. If I'm his coach, and JJ Redick is doing a heck of a job, by the way.
3-0.
Coach, yeah, he's doing. I've seen him mic at practice and during games, but he's doing a great job. But as a head coach, I want my players to say that. Now I can turn back, after about 20 games. Hey, LeBron, maybe, we're going to rest you this back to back or something. It's easier to do that than say, hey, Joel Embiid, can you play tonight? Can you, it's like.
That's a great point, Mo.
As a coach, I want players that are enthusiastic and running around crazy with energy, and then I can calm them down. But if you have a player that just like this and jogs, and it's very difficult to get him to play with energy. So that's the same philosophy, right? I can calm people down. I can get you to rest during the season. But if you're a lazy player or you don't want to play in a lot of games, it's going to be hard for me to encourage you to do both of those things.
That is an absolutely great point. Hey, let's get to your Bucks. They are struggling. Steve is over here going crazy. He says Giannis can't shoot free throws anymore. Worse than ever, actually.
He's not worse than ever, but he's bad again. Yeah.
And they can't guard the 3-point line.
Yeah, I don't know what.
They did a good job when Holiday was there.
Yeah, because he's a defender, and Damian Lillard is not a defender. So you get what you get, And the problem with them is they're not making up. So if you're a poor defender, you better be a hell of an offensive player, and the other way around. But they're playing poor defense, but not getting the offensive spark and energy that they want. And for Doc Rivers to say we're just not playing the right way, that's mind-boggling. You got all veterans, guys that won championships. You've won a championship. You're a veteran coach, and you're not playing the right way? Then fix it. Go in the video room and fix it and hold people accountable and make them play the right way or sit them. Guess what? You're losing anyway. So you might as well use the bench to deter people from playing the wrong way. It's mind-boggling. And I'll tell you, it's scary, Steve, because did they lose tonight, I guess?
They're losing.
Yeah. So they're going to be 1-3. They beat Philly, and then they lost, but who without Embiid and without Butler, and then they lost to Chicago, and who else?
They're going to lose to Boston tonight.
Well, they lost to I can't read this.
Okay, I'll look
Memphis. I think Memphis or whoever. They lost to two bad teams, and so you can't do that. I just told you you want to have double wins and you do losses. Well, you're going to be 1-3 after tonight. Then you go to Memphis, and they're playing well, so you could be 1-4. Then you play the Cavs, who are 3-0 back to back, so you could be 1-6. And then you go play Utah, and maybe get that, and you're 2-6. Then you play the Knicks, you're 2-7. Then you play Boston again, and you're 2-8. That's scary to me. That's really.
They're not going to go 2-8.
Why not? Why not? If Chicago can beat them, Memphis can beat them, the Cavs can beat them, Utah maybe not, New York, the Knicks can beat them, right?
Yeah.
And Boston absolutely can beat them. They just did. So
You're
you're 2-8 or you're 3-7. Pick one, and that's not a good start to have. And Middleton's coming back very soon.
I agree with Steve here. Lillard scores 25, but he gives up 24.
He might give up 30. I don't know. But, and when you look, I watched part of the first part of that game, and the Bucks were hanging in there and playing well. And then, Boston is playing better now. And it shows. So, yeah, the Bucks are in trouble, man. You start 3-7 or 2-8. How do you make that up, Ricky? You got to win 10 in a row. More.
How much of this is on Doc?
I mean, I would say not a lot, but now I say more. And if he said what he said tonight, what he said the other night or whatever, that we're not playing the right way, then I put a lot on him. He's the head coach. You're the head coach. You have to find a way. You can't make them, but you have to find a way to encourage them to play the right way, the way you want them to play, and tell them that. Be specific on video. Look we don't want to do this. We want to do more of that. Don't do that. Do more of this. Not that, this, that. I did that all the time. You want to do more good things and less bad things. That's what you want to do. And when you start doing this, bad things, good things, bad things, good things, you're in trouble. But now if you start doing more good things, and good things doesn't mean making shots. It includes making shots, blocking out, getting rebounds, keeping your man in front of you, guarding your yard, making right rotations, playing the pick and roll correctly, playing with energy. All that is
They
good.
They lost to the Brooklyn Nets.
The Nets. Yeah, and you're right, Steve, because the Nets have a couple good guards, and they couldn't guard them. And guess what? Pretty much every team in the NBA has good guards. Ta-da!
A lot of people would agree with David on this. The Bucks shouldn't have brought Doc in last year.
Okay, I'll ask you a question then, David. Who should they have brought in? Let me know. Because, they had Budenhauser, right? They let him go. Then they have Darvin Ham. Did they have Darvin Ham? No, he went to the Lakers.
Darvin was an assistant there.
Yeah. But then they had
they brought in the guy you coach, Mo.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. And that didn't work out. Young guy, that Giannis one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they let him go. Who else? I mean, when does it stop being the coach's fault? And I'm saying it's part of his fault if he said what he said, So I don't know if it's a bad decision. If so, then who would be better? I don't know.
I don't know about this either with age. In all sports, teams that make the least amount of mistake usually win. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I mean.
I do agree with that. Absolutely.
Well, let's talk. Well, okay.
Adrian Griffin, Mo. Thank you, Wood.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. Okay, that's a good point. Here. Football. What costs you games? Interceptions, fumbles, penalties, all turnovers, right? What costs you in basketball? Bad shots, turnovers, bad defense, hurried offense. Those are all mistakes. You're right about that. And if you watch a game, here, I'll give you a scenario, right? And I don't know if this is too deep for everybody. Probably not. But when I was with the Dallas Mavericks, I had the defensive accountability sheet, and I helped with the defensive schemes, and I kept track. I had a report that graded your defense. Most reports in every sport has offense, offense makes assist, turnovers, all this stuff. I had defense, blockouts, bad rotations, blow-bys, all this stuff. And I would grade the team after every game. And when we made 60% good plays on defense, we won every game. So here you go, Woodage. 60% we made good plays and we won every game. So you're right. So the more good plays and less mistakes you make, you're going to win. That's absolutely right. When it was 50-50, and we had a good team. We went to the finals that year. When it was 50-50 on defense, we made half good plays on defense, half bad plays. We won 50% of the games.
Mo, would you rather be a great defensive team and a great rebounding team, or a great offensive team and a poor rebounding team?
Well,
in today's NBA.
Well, I'll tell you this. I would rather have better offense than defense. Defense doesn't win championships. Sorry, it doesn't. The best offense, I learned this from Nelly, the best defense is a good offense. And what I mean by this is, picture this. So if I have a team and I'm a great defensive team and I'm an average or below average offensive team, you're not going to win a championship, right? You're not going to win. If I have a great offensive team and an okay defensive team, I can win a championship. Golden State proved that. Dallas proved that. So, you're talking about.
Does that hold true in the era you played from the 80s to the 90s when it was a more physical game?
I think less so because offense was less important. And what I'll say is, Boston shot 61 threes the other night, not tonight, the other night, and made 29 of them. I just watched, my son found it was posted on YouTube. I think it was 85 or 86, our game one playoff game against the Atlanta Hawks when I was in Milwaukee. And I watched it. And I had a good game. I had 18 points and 7 boards or something. But, and we beat them by 15 or something like that. But you know how many threes were shot in that game back then? How many three-pointers were shot?
The Hawks might have shot 5 or 6 near the end.
And then how many did we shoot?
None.
1 three-pointer in the whole game. 1.
At the end of a quarter.
No, it was Mike Dunleavy when we were up by 25, and he just shot a 3. 1 3-point shot. I mean, that's how less offense was valued back then. And now you're shooting 40, 50 threes, which is offense. So, offense is definitely more important. So maybe in the 80s, if you had a great team. Here's the other thing, too. That same game, I'm listening to the announcers, and they're Atlanta Hawks announcers. And they're talking about how good we are defensively and how we rotate and we help our teammates and we take charges. And we're the number 1 defensive team in the NBA that year. Number 1. We lost in the second round. And we had Paul Pressey, Sidney Moncrief, Junior Bridgman, Bob Lanier. We were a good offensive team. Marcus Johnson, who was awesome, by the way. Number 1 defense. And we lost in the second round. There you go. There's your answer. Even back then.
Man, Mo, we are running out of time here. And my goodness, everybody's just lined up here. We really appreciate you guys.
Let's get this. Let's rattle those out, Ricky. What do we got?
Coming
Let's
in.
rattle them out.
Hey, Mo, I need to see that. Steve said he just saw that game on YouTube when you scored 18. You need to send me that so we can clip some of that and get it up on the show.
Yeah, I was young back then, man. I only had one little knee sleeve on. I hadn't had my surgeries yet.
No, I do agree. Adrian was 33-12.
Yes.
But apparently Giannis, In fact, they hadn't been this good since he had them at 33-12.
Yeah, since Budenhauser that they fired. Yes. But that's the way the sports is. So they didn't see behind the lines, and I saw it. I was there. I was 5 feet from the bench when they played in Las Vegas in the in-season tournament. They weren't listening to Adrian. They weren't listening to him in the huddles. They weren't paying attention. The communication was terrible. So the general manager, they see practices. They see that. So they made that move, not on his record, but on what they saw. So that was that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you see that, you gotta do something.
Yeah.
When that
the Bucks are Steve, the Bucks are paying 3 head coaches, but they need to join the league. Everybody. Lakers are paying 4, I think.
Hey Mo, what has impressed you about JJ Redick?
I think his openness, I think right off the bat, his basketball IQ is huge. So like I said before, players respect that. They know in the first 5 minutes whether you know what the hell you're talking about. And he knows what the hell he's talking about. I've watched him in practice. They filmed him and mic'd him. He has good communication skills with his players, with respect, but then they still kind of, he's still young, so they get along with them. And he's not scared, like a lot of coaches are scared to hire assistants that could eventually take their job or might be better than them. So he hired Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks, 2 former head coaches, successful head coaches with his staff. And then they hired Greg St. Jean, who's the son of Gary St. Jean, who was my assistant in Milwaukee, who has been with Dallas and was with the Lakers. He's a respected assistant coach. But he listens and he communicates. And guess what? Players want to play for him. And that's what's happening.
And they assigned Bronny James to the G League, which we all knew he needed to be.
I think
a lot of people didn't think he would do that.
I think someone said that they should do that last week. I think maybe on our show.
I think it was you.
Someone like, Coach Mo, maybe. Yeah, because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The wrong thing to do is let him ride around on a plane and do shoot-arounds with his dad. The right thing to do is, okay, we got the pictures, we got the basketball up. I told you, do it in the first half, get it over with, do all that. He went on a road trip, too. He went on a road trip with the Lakers and his dad, got that little experience. I don't blame him. And now what he should do is he should go play in the G League, get reps, get better, and maybe he'll become an NBA player. He's not that right now. But maybe he has a chance if he does that, listens, and I think he has a mentality to take it as a plus, not a minus. And at the same time, you can live in the same place. It's LA. Their G League team, it plays like 30 minutes from them. Yeah. You can actually practice with the Lakers and play with the G League team if you want. So it's a good situation.
Well, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. We will be back next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. More quickly, we got 30 seconds. D-Wade's statue in Miami. Come on, man.
I don't understand, man. I mean, that looks like, it looks like D-Wade's dad. That was, I think, at his Hall of Fame induction. I mean, I'm like, hey, can you imagine him sitting there going, oh, thanks for the statue? And he looks at it and goes, who is that guy? I mean, come on, man. You can't do better than that. Man.
Somebody said that they get the receipt from the guy.
Who's watching? Who's monitoring it? Who's watching and saw this? Because they didn't just see it when they released the curtain. They saw it weeks before that and didn't say, oh, wait a minute, time out. Yeah. We got to cut off that end and put a real head on, man.
Steve said you shoot that J against the Hawks. Well,
that's right, baby.
Hey, send me that tape so I can get it. But we got to get out of here. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. See you next Monday. For the big fella, Paul Mokeski, I'm Rick Hampton. Peace, everybody.
Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.